Hello and welcome back to News Cycle, the weekly show where we look at some of the interesting news and new music that's been coming out from the world of rock and alternative music. So, what's in the news this week? Well, coronavirus has fucked everything up, and that's pretty much it. See you next week. Bet I got you there. Bet you didn't notice there's another 5 minutes of this video left. I bet you fell for it. Yeah, I'm going to go into it for a bit more detail than that, but that is pretty much all the news this week. Yes, the coronavirus is ruining everything. Now, I already said this last week, but maybe you didn't see the video, maybe you're new around here. If you did, hello, I hope you enjoy. But I'm fully aware that the music industry isn't the most important thing going on with the coronavirus. Things like festivals and concerts being cancelled, while yes, they're pretty bad, they're nowhere near as bad as the people who are dying and suffering because of this. But that being said, yes, these things are very important for people such as festival organisers, artists, people going to them who've invested a lot of money, and especially for the really small artists who invested a lot of their money and income into an upcoming tour that they've now had to cancel and potentially lose a lot of money from. And yeah, I'm not a doctor, I'm just a guy that talks about music because I've decided myself I'm an expert on it. I don't really know what gave me that qualification other than I think I listen to quite a lot of music. And I definitely waste far too much of my student loan going to concerts. So I'm not here to give you medical advice. When it comes to that, just follow common sense, use basic hygiene and listen to your government's advice. Unless this guy's running your government, then maybe you need to focus on following common sense a bit more than everyone else. Well, I recorded all of this last night, thought I'd edit it this morning, get it up in the afternoon, and the video would all be relatively up to date. But no, with the coronavirus, shit is changing every single day and we've had some pretty breaking news, so I thought I had to jump in and add this to the video. And that is, unfortunately, Glastonbury Festival has been cancelled. Annoyingly, I spent quite a while last night talking about all the leaks and rumours that it was going to be, so I guess I'm just going to cut those out of the video and add this in instead. And in the hour or two it takes me to edit this, I just hope there's no other big breaking news. It has seemed likely for a while that Glastonbury Festival was going to be cancelled because of the coronavirus, although there was still a bit of hope because it was about 3 months away, and that's roughly around the time of the 12 weeks of quarantine or whatever the government has said. But well, I guess if you look at the statement, it does seem to be more that they were hoping the festival would be able to go ahead, but it would be unsafe for all the workers who would have to be at the site at the moment, setting up all the tents and all the stands and all of that sort of stuff. You can't have thousands of workers doing all that while there's this risk of the disease being spread about them. So it's more of a danger for their workers rather than at the time when the actual festival comes around, when a lot of people seem to be hoping, and well, some experts seem to be predicting that it'll be mostly over, fingers crossed. This is obviously a massive shame, but health is really more important than a festival, and at the rate that this disease is spreading and the amount of people that are dying, it is probably definitely for the best. Because as much as I love a good festival, they are extremely dirty and unhygienic. I don't know about you, but I can never find a proper tap to wash my hands. You always just have to wash them with a bit of soap, I guess. So yeah, at Glastonbury Festival, having 135,000 people in very unhygienic conditions, squished into a very tight little space altogether, it would be perfect conditions for the disease to spread like wildfire there. It really does show how serious this situation has become, that the two most famous and iconic music festivals in the world, which are, I would say, Coachella and Glastonbury, have cancelled and have all been postponed. Really shows that no one can escape from this, no matter how rich or powerful you are, I guess. If you did have a ticket for this year, no worries, you can use your ticket next year. Hopefully you might be able to get a decent lineup that time. And I do think that's quite fair, because I think if you've already gone through all the stress and struggle of actually getting a ticket, you don't want to have to go through that again when you've lost it through means that aren't your fault. But then it's annoying for people like me who didn't manage to get a ticket this year, unfortunately, despite trying for the 10th year or whatever in a row. So it means all of us that didn't have a ticket are now going to have to fight it out over like 10% of the tickets that we're normally fighting it out over, so it's going to be extremely tricky to get a ticket next year. I mean, that's all presuming there's any of us left alive next year. No details on what the lineup will be. Some people think it's going to be entirely different, some people think it's going to be the same lineup next year, but it's all rumour and speculation at this point. I personally think it will be a fairly similar lineup, but it's not going to be identical, partly because a lot of artists tour and play festivals as part of the touring season after they release an album to help promote it. and the Glastonbury dates aren't going to coincide with when they're releasing albums or whatever anymore. I've also just heard, as I'm recording this, that Eurovision has been cancelled. Now that may not be the most serious music event in the world, but it's a good fun and it's a good bit of community spirit for Europe. And I think a big community coming together style event right now is what everyone really needs. Although maybe I'm happy about that because it spares Britain from completely embarrassing ourselves yet again. Why can't we ever send anyone just slightly decent, please? But to add in a bit of positive news within all this, we've seen some really great and amazing videos coming out of Italy this week of all the people stuck in quarantine coming out on their balconies, playing songs and singing together, showing that even in the shittiest of times, music can still bring us a bit of happiness and bring us together, which is something I love to see. We've also had a few funny videos on Twitter where people have edited the music that Italians are playing to different artists and then sending to them, and then they've done this big emotional response like, "Oh my god, thank you so much for listening to my music." We've seen a few people fall for this, but I think the funniest one was Cheryl Cole. I don't think anyone's sung Fight for This Love since about 2006 Cheryl Cole, I'm sorry to break it to you. But yeah, it's great to see even while we have to stay apart, music can still bring us together in some way or another. Anyway, back to past Cameron. But the coronavirus has cancelled pretty much everything at this point. It's not just festivals and concerts, it's people in gatherings of more than 10 people. It feels like pretty much every country in the Western Hemisphere at least is either in lockdown, or if you're not in lockdown, you're basically... Well, you're not in lockdown, but you're not leaving the house, you're not going to work or schools as much like in the UK. You're just sort of sitting around inside, only leaving if you have to. So yeah, it's probably easier to list the artists and festivals that haven't cancelled than the ones that have at this point. When I make my notes for this video every week, I started, like after I did last week's video, making a note of who's cancelled a concert just so I could show you a list on this video, but after it got to about 20 names, I just gave up. Pretty much the only artist I can see that is going ahead with their concerts is The Exploited, saying fuck the coronavirus, we ain't fucking Green Day, we're not cancelling because of a virus. And you just get these vibes from it like, oh, we're so manly, I'm so tough, look at my muscles, look how tough my immune system is. It's just a bit fucking dumb. Like, I love going to concerts, but at this point it's definitely for the best to cancel them, and if anything, you're just going to put your own fans in danger. But I think since releasing that statement, they have actually now cancelled their concert, so look who's got egg on their face, I guess. I mean, maybe we probably shouldn't be joking about this anymore, because this has gone well beyond a meme when we were all taking the piss out of it only a couple of weeks ago, probably only last week, and it does seem to be a serious epidemic right now. It looks like every festival or concert within the next 2 months at least has been cancelled, and basically every other concert from after that time period has been either cancelled or they've released some sort of statement saying, oh, we're going to wait and see what happens in a few months' time and hope the pandemic is over by then, which fingers crossed it will be. I just want to really quickly add, YouTube seems to have a very weird stance talking about coronavirus/COVID-19, where it's demonetizing and restricting videos that talk about it. Now, demonetizing doesn't affect me, I don't have ads on my videos anyway, but if they restrict my video and don't promote it as much, it can really harm a small channel like me. So liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, all that stuff would mean an extra big deal on this video because it will help kind of counter out YouTube, because all that stuff will help promote it in the algorithm, and maybe it'll counter out the COVID-19 talk, countering it in the algorithm. All these shows being cancelled has created some quite interesting opportunities. You can kind of look at them as for small bands. With an artist like Code Orange, Youngblood, the Dropkick Murphys doing sort of live concerts as live streams, so thousands of people can watch them. So maybe you're sad you missed out on going to see them in a concert because they've had to postpone it, but you still get to see the live experience. Yeah, it's not as good as being in a crowd and actually seeing them, but I think it's a pretty good compromise. We've also had While She Sleeps bringing back their clothing line, which they share the design with other artists, and it's all about promoting small independent artists and finding ways to support them when they can really struggle in the modern music industry. And as well as all these small, clever young bands, we've had Matt Healy shitting all over them. Now, I'll show the tweet up here, hopefully, if I've got a screenshot of it, because he has since deleted it. And I do just think it's a bit of a bad joke from him, but it is kind of insensitive, I guess you could definitely say. There are definitely lots of really small artists out there who are really struggling right now. Maybe they've invested all their money in an upcoming tour, just had that cancelled. And a lot of them could be dangerously low on money, or maybe even in debt because they invested so much in an upcoming tour. So I think for a lot of people this could be really fucking with them. So I'm sure a lot of them don't appreciate him making jokes like this at this time, because buying an LP or something like that is a great way to support small bands that you love. Matt Healy then refused to apologise and he said, "Oh, I own an indie label," which is kind of the music industry equivalent of being like, "I've got black friends, I can't be racist." So I guess Matt Healy being a twat isn't exactly breaking news, but I don't think it's that big a deal, but it seemed to be causing loads of big arguments and whatever in indie Twitter. And while I don't think it's that big a deal what he said really, I think his arrogance certainly rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Now though, I would say it's a great time, since we've all got to sit around at home with fuck all to do. Check out some new music, check out some small artists, stream them, support them, buy their music or whatever. Since I've not had much to do, what I've been doing recently is going through the Leeds Festival lineup, looking at all the small artists that I don't know and giving a bit of a go at each. I've really got into ONR, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's this sort of electro-pop indie rock that's really good fun, and Arrested Youth, which is hard to describe really. It's sort of like a cross between 21 Pilots and Youngblood, I guess. Looking at other news this week, I've spent ages trying to find any other news stories besides Corona to talk about, but there really isn't much. All I could really come up with was that Ronnie from Falling in Reverse got in Twitter beef. Who would have thought it? I do personally really like Falling in Reverse. They're a classic emo band, but Ronnie Radke, I think you pronounce it, is such a twat. It makes it so hard to like their music. This time he got angry because a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago at this point, Falling in Reverse released some of their old emo classic songs as reimagined, which were basically just softer versions of the original songs. But now I Prevail, another great band, have released some of their older songs as reimagined as well. And Ronnie got very angry about this, claiming it. They were trying to copy him and mug him off and trying to steal his influence or something. And honestly, it's just all so dumb how angry he was about it. And even his girlfriend, Paige from WWE, some of you may know, joined in. It was just embarrassing to see them stand on this hill to try and fight. So many bands before them have released redone versions of their old songs. Yes, maybe they haven't called them reimagined, but I feel like almost every band ever has released a stripped back or acoustic version of one of their classic songs. And I think Ronnie even started to admit that on all his continuous Twitter beef and sort of like, was like, "Yeah, but they stole a reimagined name from me." But a quick search on Apple Music or Spotify will show you that dozens and dozens of artists have called their songs reimagined before. In fact, they're not even the first scene band to do that, because As It Is did it in 2019. So yeah, again, another singer's a bit of a twat, but I guess it's not really breaking news. So anyway, on to some of the new interesting music I've been listening to this week. Fever 333 released Presence is Strength. It's really hard-hitting, aggressive rap rock. If you got into Rage Against the Machine, and maybe you always liked them, maybe you got into them since they've had a bit of a comeback this year, I recommend checking them out. They're quite similar artists. Ruse released Monsters, which explores the heavier side of female-fronted indie rock. And Coffee and Cigarettes was released by The Snuts. It's a really nice song, classic bit of post-Britpop indie rock. So overall, I guess that's pretty much it for music this week. It seems to be Corona's limiting everything. Like, that is the main news story, and because everyone's cancelling and self-isolating or whatever, there's no other news stories being created. It looks like all this shit will continue on next week, and maybe I won't be doing another one of these news cycle episodes next week if it's still the coronavirus and there's not really anything new to talk about. Honestly, I struggle to find new things to talk about a bit this week because we already covered it a bit last week. But I guess if I'm not doing one of these, I'll have plenty of time to focus on some other interesting videos we've got coming up on the channel. So, as always, like, share, subscribe, the usual YouTube shit. Hope you enjoyed watching, have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.